So I watched recently completed an anime about it was an isekai anime, which I've noticed that I am somewhat into more and more of now. Um, but this particular anime was called something about the seven projadies and how they are still projadies even in this other world, and it was just one of those anime that you like. The more that you watch it, the more confused that you are, because I feel like it's one of those shows where they knew they were only going to get 12 episodes, so they had to cram all of the information that they wanted to into those 12 episodes, and there is a lot of information within those 12 episodes. Some of it gets skipped over. So half the time you don't even know what's going on, it feels like. A plane crashes, and then all of a sudden they have like a month goes by, and they have this whole like underground bunker built with all these computers. And like, first of all, where are they getting the power for all of this stuff? I know one of them's like this tech guru, genius-y kind of person, but even with the seven of them and all of the villagers, it would still take them a long time to build everything that they have. And I mean, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it just seems like everything is like, all right, we crash land here. Now we have a secret base. And then all of a sudden now we have our cell phones still work, even though there's no cell towers. And they're essentially like walkie-talkies that have like an unlimited amount of range. Like, one of them can be halfway across this isekai world and still be able to phone up one of their friends. And it's like, all right, yeah, that's cool, but how? That's like never explained. It's just all of a sudden, all right, I fixed our phones so they work here, so we can still call each other and text each other and everything. So like, all right, cool. I'd kind of like to know how that works. It's just all very fast paced, and it just seems like not a whole lot of it gets explained as to why it's happening. It focuses mostly on. It does focus on the main storyline, which is really what you want an anime to do, but I just feel like they could take a couple of episodes to kind of explain, like, all right, this is why we're building bombs, and this is how we do it, and blah 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 blah, all that stuff. It just seems like it's very unrealistic for an isekai, at least to me, it does. It's sort of an anime that I can compare it to is that time I got reincarnated as a slime. That seems like it's a better isekai. Like, if you put the seven projadies and the slime anime in the same sort of race as to who would be the better anime, I feel like the slime anime would come out as the better of the two, because one, they had way more episodes. They had 24 episodes plus a couple of OVAs thrown in here and there, so let's call it 28 episodes, where they could build up the like they spent like 6 or 7 episodes just on Rimuru, or maybe two to three episodes just on Rimuru getting out of the cave, which some might see as unnecessary, but it builds the backstory for who Rimuru is, and none of that is there in the Seven Prodigies. It's like, all right, our plane crashed, let's salvage what we can and never talk about the craft again. Like, I don't even think they address how the aircraft gets transported. It's, oh, an electrical magnetic thing sent us. I don't think they do explain it, but again, it's like you have 12 episodes to cram all of this information into. You have 24 episodes worth of information being crammed into about half that time. So a lot of the stuff is getting cut out that probably should not be getting cut out, is how I feel. So it just leads to more questions than it does answers. I feel like it opens up more plot holes than it fills in. Not a completely horrible anime. It's just I feel like it could have been a lot better with explaining why each thing is done, and sort of building up to the last sort of battle, instead of just, all right, we have a nuke, let's launch it, boom, we win. It feels like there's no, like, you really have no reason to root for the protagonists in that situation, and it leads to you forgetting the protagonists' names. I did. There's like this samurai chick, don't know her name. There's this like political leader guy. He's like super into politics, carries a gun around with him. Forget his name. Did I mention the samurai chick who's like really good at fighting? Maybe, I don't know. They're all forgettable characters in the show. They have seemingly no redeeming qualities between any of them, except like one of them's really good at politics and one of them's really good at fighting, and the other one can build computers and she's really good at fixing technology and radios and stuff like that, and she's a technology projady and really into science and all that. And the rest are kind of forgettable. Like, I just sort of, after the show ended, I was like, all right, on to the next anime. I was already forgotten the characters and their names and all that, and it's just like, there's all this stuff here. Like, within the last 2 or 3 episodes, like this whole like romantic arc starts between the really tech savvy girl and the dude who's really good at politics, and then that just goes nowhere. Like, you have something good here, why not let it, try to get more episodes to kind of build up the relationship between these two characters and why they're doing what they're doing, instead of, all right, bad guys over there, let's just shoot the nuke in that direction vaguely, and then boom, we win. That's sort of not a good way to do a show. Not that I am any good at doing a show or writing stories, but I figured you'd want to create some backstory between the villagers, or the between the characters in the show, and why exactly they're fighting for what they're fighting for, instead of just taking 10 minutes out of one episode in the entire show and explaining, this dude's a tyrant, he's making us spend our own money on town improvements, and then so we don't have enough money to eat food, we can't whatever. They explain everything, but it's just like, you kind of forget why they're doing what they're doing, and they're again, I felt like the Slime anime did a better job at pretty much everything than the 7 Projadies did, because again, they had more episodes to work with, so they had more time to kind of flesh out any sort of character development and bring in any sort of past characters that sort of had importance to the plot. And they had good arcs for the story, but they were short arcs each time, which is kind of what is good. You don't want, unless you have a show like Dragon Ball, where you can start one arc and then 100 episodes later the arc is completed and then move on to the next arc, or have several arcs going at one continuous time or whatever, so it was an okay show. I don't think I would ever watch it again. I had, again, completely forgotten about the show until probably today. I was like, oh, I should probably do a video on it. So that's kind of why I'm here now doing this. So, I mean, watch it if you want, but it's kind of one of those, like, even if you're watching it, you're kind of like, what's going on kind of shows. It's not horrible, but it's also really not the best show that is out there. It could be a lot better than what it is. If only they had more time to flesh out the characters and tell the stories that not to say that it's the writing or the writers or the writing staff or anything like that. It's just they did not have enough time to do what they wanted to do, and that's what led to the show being what it is and feeling so rushed. And that's kind of what happened in Izetta the Last Witch, which is one of my favorite animes. It just, by episode 6, it just seemed like they realized they weren't getting a season 2 of Izetta the Last Witch, so they just rushed everything else. That's kind of how the 7 Projadies feels, but like through the entire series, instead of just halfway through rushing through everything. So that's pretty much my take on the show, and I'll see you guys in the next one, and until then, peace.